talked about sort of against like a side like Richmond, you were a bit outclassed last week, but against the sides around the same mark, you've done pretty well, which I guess makes the next couple of weeks really important for the club.
Yeah, it does. Every game's important because there's 4 points there, obviously, and you're always being scrutinised and evaluated every week. So we're not immune to that, but we feel that if we play footy the right way on the weekend, the week after's irrelevant, and the week after that's irrelevant. If we play footy the way we should on the weekend, we're confident we'll play well, and if we do it more consistently and for longer, we're hopeful of a good result.
Is it important when you get a win against a side like this just to show all your fans the progress you're making?
I think it is. You can put that two ways. We know we're making progress. The scoreboard mightn't say that some weeks, but we're confident we're making progress, introducing a lot of young people into the team who show that they can play the game at the elite level, not consistently for 4 quarters yet. So progress is win-loss ratio, but it's also seeing improvement in players, and we're also at a stage in our club where we fluctuate in the way we play at different stages in games. We're a little inconsistent with how we move the ball, we're a little inconsistent with how we defend. We've been pretty consistent with our contest and our effort and our willingness to win clearances, but there's been some inconsistencies in the other 2 areas. So progress is measured in a lot of different ways.
We saw a pretty successful debut of Lockie Hunter. Have you got any more up your sleeve this week?
No new ones this week. We do have another young boy we drafted this year who, once we get him over a few injuries, you'll probably see him. His name's Josh Pruden. All being well this year, maybe next year. But we'll probably bring 2 youngish type players back into the team who've been out of the team for a while. Have played really well at VFL level, so we've been pretty consistent. When they play well, our players play well at the level down, we generally bring them up.
Would that be Tory Dixon?
Tory, most likely one of those, yep. And Mitch Wallace is very close to playing too. So both had fantastic games last week in a really good win, and we're looking forward to them contributing.
How's Brett Goods' wrist? How's that?
Goodsy won't play at this stage. We need, at this stage, we'll have a look at it this morning, and more unlikely than likely.
Just on Tory, you feel like you need another goal kicker in the side?
Well, Tory's an AFL player, and he's got a proven history of kicking goals, and he was a week short last week. He's had 2 VFL games now, so time to bring him back, yeah.
Priority pick. Michael Voss wasn't too happy with talk of Melbourne perhaps getting a priority pick, and he linked you guys in the same boat as him. I mean, what were your thoughts on that?
We thought Michael explained the situation really well. I don't think I could have said it any better myself. It has been a difficult journey at times, not impossible, but a difficult journey the last 24 months for teams that have been rebuilding a fair bit of their team, and we're one of those clubs through 2 years where some outstanding young talent has gone to 2 clubs, and that was the system, that is the system, and we were all coherent to that, and it's pretty important that people understand that, but he worded it brilliantly well.
Is that something that you would talk to the AFL about?
We have dialogue with the AFL, me not as in the coach, but our president and our CEO, as with all clubs, have constant dialogue with the AFL, and at the moment I don't think I've seen it better where interaction between the AFL and clubs has been as healthy as this. I think it's reached a point where coaches can talk to the AFL, players, the AFLPA can talk, CEOs. It's a very good way to do it, and that doesn't mean you always get what you want, but it's a good way to do it.
So you'd feel it was a little unfair if Melbourne did get the extra pick?
I thought Vossi worded it really well. Really well. Thought Peter Gordon worded it even better.
What are your thoughts on Joe Watson's admissions?
It's been an interesting week, hasn't it? Joe Watson's incredibly humble and honest person, outstanding player, outstanding captain, but it's opened up a can of worms, but it's an investigation, and the AFL will deal with it.
on the Demons. Did you notice any changes with them with the new coach?
Yeah, they looked like they had more appetite to compete last week, and they certainly shared the ball around a little more, and the stats indicate that they all got more of the ball. They got more ball in space, and they just looked like a team that wanted to stand for something. So the start's important, and how we play is really important. How we defend is super important on Saturday night.
Macca, with Gia mic'd up on the weekend, I guess the football world saw his coaching credentials. Is that, I guess, where he's directing himself, and are you ready to have him in your ranks?
How many questions was in that? Yeah, I think it showed that he's got a terrific football brain and understands the game, and I think listening to some of the comments, it showed hopefully it showed the listener how quick the game is, because there were times where he had to change his mind 3 times in a 2-second period to go from running to receive the ball and to go back and maybe shepherd, and then within a blink encourage a teammate to have a shot on goal because he was hot. So that's what hit me, just how fast it is. I think it was a good initiative to take the football public out onto an AFL ground and pick up on what happens down at ground level and out in the field of battle. The second part of the question, he'll make a terrific coach. He's passionate about it. He works hard. He's been leaning this way for a long time. He builds really good relationships with people. We will look to add to our coaching program next year, and we have our own VFL team, which is a big step forward for us. So we need to make sure we've got the right people around our youngsters at that level. And he'd be right at the front of the queue for work with us if it's available and he wants to take it.
Speaking of coaches, has Sean Higgins approached you in the lead up to the women's round game this week?
Sean's has a keen eye for the game. He goes to watch a lot of AFL footy. Him and I are going to go and watch a few games together in the next few weeks and probably help him look at the game. Sometimes that time out of the game gives you an opportunity to look at the game other than just as a player. A lot of our players do go to the footy to watch upcoming opponents and really good players in their positions to learn from them, but Sean wants to elevate his thinking to how the game should actually look and be shaped and taught.
Thanks, guys.
Cool.
Thank you.